that shouldn't matter. Did he do something that deserved to be shot? In this case, most people say yes, that should be it. Why are we doing the same that we accuse the media of doing to us? That's what I didn't get. So now, because we know, unfortunately, it will happen again when the police kills one of us and they do that to us. Y'all can't say because y'all have shown that y'all do the same thing. That's all I got on that.
What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I am Tavares Ferguson, aka Ferg, joined my co-hosts Buff and Razi. Fellas, tell them what's on your mind.
A lot. A whole lot. I imagine, knowing how I know Razi, he probably is going to touch on some of this, so I'm going to try to be quick as possible. If you are especially a woman, but if you're a person that believes in a woman's right to choose, if you are a member of the LGBTQIA plus community, if you are someone with a black child that you would like to be considered to be accepted at a PWI, and if you are someone who has student loans that you are struggling to pay, if you're any of those people and you stayed home in 2016 because you were worried about Hillary's emails, or, you know, you felt like both sides are just as bad, shut the up. You get no say so. Take it.
Ever.
And you know what? For you people, I'm happy the Supreme Court did what they did. For years, we've told you elections matter. 45 got not one, not two, 3 Supreme Court picks in one term. We could have had, for the first time in my lifetime, a progressive Supreme Court for at least the next 20 years. Instead, what we got is a 50-year-old Amy Coney Barrett, a 57-year-old Brett Kavanaugh, a 54-year-old Neil Gorsuch, all appointed by Trump. The oldest member on the Supreme Court is Clarence Thomas, and that's 74. That's not even really that old. Mm-hmm. So even if Biden wins again, there's a chance he may not even get another Supreme Court pick. And you know how likely it is for the same party to win 3 presidential elections in a row. So more than likely, come 2028, we're looking at a Republican president if Biden wins. And even more,
you know, that's Clarence, and that's when Clarence Thomas is going to step down so he can open it up, because they time it, because they're smart, because they know, because they're better at politics than the Democrats.
Yes.
Period.
So that's all I want to say. I'm going to sip the rest of this tea my wife made me with this apple cider vinegar in it, and I'm going to just kick back and see if Razi or Ferg adds to it. But again, I want to tell those groups I named, not just those people in the group, but if you're in those groups and you're upset about the Supreme Court decisions and you didn't vote in 2016, shut up.
What Supreme Court decision are you speaking of, right? Can't be anything that big.
Well, and I'm glad you said that, Ferg. Within just a year, the Supreme Court has repealed Roe v. Wade. They just ruled in favor of Lori Smith that said that companies can now pretty much discriminate if they don't want to work for a member of the gay community, like this woman who designs websites for weddings. A gay couple came to her, just like that cake case 5 years ago. They have the right to refuse. By the way, Kristen Wagner, her lawyer, the same lawyer for the cake company that won his case as well. Hey, she beasting right now, at least for her side. They also got rid of affirmative action and student loan forgiveness. They said, no, y'all got to pay that money. So that's all in 1 year.
Oh, did you mention? Yeah. There was one other.
Is it one more? Am I missing one?
Yeah.
I got Roe v. Wade, LGBTQ, affirmative action, student loan forgiveness. Is it one more? It's probably one more.
It's one more. It's one more big one too.
What's so funny is
Voting Rights Act.
It is.
Yeah. So pre-clearance. They overturned pre-clearance, which is why we got all these laws that are prohibiting people from voting. Yep.
Yeah, so I guess voting is important.
Just a little bit.
Because
Just a little bit.
What, people
But the
don't see
most recent
laws.
one, for the folks that don't listen, and hopefully y'all don't use us for your news source, but if you do use us for your news source, just today or yesterday, the Supreme Court overturned the affirmative action policy. And so Harvard, they said that Harvard and I think it's UNC, their admissions policies are racist because they use race as a basis for admissions, basically affirmative action. And so they overturned that. That doesn't necessarily mean that affirmative action is gone. Just want to throw that out there. What it means is that, because affirmative action doesn't mean that you have to have a quota or anything like that. Affirmative action is you have a plan to go out, recruit, talk to, and get people to apply. And so what they were saying is Harvard and UNC, they had policies that I guess said that basically like quotas and things like that, which aren't actually affirmative action things. That was just their policies. But it's, again, going back to that slippery slope. That's how everybody's taking it, is that it's affirmative action is no longer needed, or that you don't need affirmative action anymore. More than likely what's going to happen is they're going to start pressing the government now to not follow through on affirmative action and enforcement and things like that. So we'll see. But again, I echo what Buff said. Shut the up. All I had, man, well, a lot. Like you said, a lot went on. Angela Basset has her Oscar, finally. They gave her an honorary one because they couldn't find it in their hearts to actually give her a Oscar for one of her performances, and she's had plenty that were Oscar worthy. But at the same time, every time she lost, I felt like the person she lost to probably deserved it a little bit more. I know we want to give Angela Basset an Oscar, but it's a competition, and timing is everything with it. But she has her Oscar. So for everybody that was screaming Angela Basset needs her Oscar, I don't know. That's something that's a big deal to folks to even get that. She has an Oscar now. So yay, Angela.
Is it the same though?
It's not. It's like an honorary doctorate. Like, do I really call you a doctor if you got an honorary doctorate? I think Lil Wayne has an honorary doctorate. So,
It's on par with like those Lifetime Achievement Awards. It's like it acknowledges what you've done, like over time, and your accumulation of just films and work are just awesome. But there hasn't been one that stood out enough at the right time. Are there a lot of honorary Oscars?
No. I think there's only a few. This was a big deal because I think it may have been like a recent thing. They don't give honorary Oscars out. They'll give lifetime achievements and stuff like that, but they won't give honorary Oscars out.
I wonder what the criteria is. It's like, look, man, you're like the best player with no ring, right?
Right. So,
I think that
it's wild. But speaking of lifetime achievements, have y'all watched Juvie's Tiny Desk concert yet?
Not yet. We won't probably watch it in the morning.
Man, yeah. After we finish recording, man, y'all need to go watch that. Watch it first thing in the morning, something, because it is dope. Him, Manny Fresh, they had a live band going. It is dope how he did it. You can tell Juvie's a little old, and he doesn't have the wind that he used to, because he couldn't sing all of his songs. Or sing or rap all of his songs, but it is what it is. It was, nostalgia taking over for the 99-2000, like class of 99 right there, and in a Tiny Desk. It was a dope concert for the little 23 minutes or whatever that it is. So go check it out if you haven't checked it out, folks. It's on YouTube, or you can go to NPR and watch that. So that's all I got, man. But it was dope.
Yeah, I enjoy those Tiny Desk concerts.
I might check it out. I'm assuming 45, 46-year-old Juvie singing back that ass up just doesn't, seem like it's
it still gets you hyped.
You know, I'm not a fan of that song.
Yeah, but that's like the last 2 minutes of the part though. Judy has a bunch of hits.
You're not a fan of Back That Up?
I just think because it was a woke of my senior year in high school, freshman in college, where it got overplayed, and I just feel like we can't get, you know, you got to think perfect timing. We were seniors. We danced to Back That Ass Up. I feel like Razi, it was in something, and then being at FAM that year, they played it at every pep rally, every set Friday, every party, you know, like, and then for years and years, like you can't really go to an event and I just like, I'm so over the song, like it, and it's just like same thing. People run to the dance floor, and I'm just like, I'm just so over this. I think it was just, I respect the song, huh?
Don't let the Deltas hear you say that.
That's their jam. I Deltas really stroll to that.
Yeah. At FAM they don't. Everywhere else they do. FAM is different anyway. Y'all are your own microcosm of
they
America.
Don't stroll. That is, we realize that they have different songs they stroll to all over, because I think the Deltas, I can't remember the Deltas in Texas stroll to, but I know the K's stroll to
Set It Off.
No, they stroll to Scarred. What Scarred or whatever it is?
The ones I've seen stroll to
yes.
They stroll to Set It
Florida
Off.
shit right there. Like.
No, that is Texas, bruh. Texas, no. They set it off in Florida, baby boy. Texas. The first time I saw that,
because Texas alphas have a weird stroll.
Yeah,
they do or whatever.
I'm trying to think what Delta stroll to. I want to say it might be Break House or something. It's all off. Like I don't go to nothing. No, not here. The
you're still talking about Texas. So.
Yeah, so the only reason I remember what the K's stroll to is because when I saw it the first time, it threw me off so much. I thought it was a joke. You know, and I thought it was a joke. And I'm like, man, okay. Because they got all the way
fast song to stroll to.
Man. And so they strolled to that, and then I think it was like a Greek picnic again, and they kept strolling to it, and I'm like, I think this is their shit. And I was just so disappointed. And so it's just, it stood out so much that I was just like, I can never forget how disappointed I was, because from our Deltas, K's, Kappas, Alphas, like, they all have the best song out of all the groups I've seen and across the nation. So maybe I'm just spoiled, but man, not a lot going on. I just got back from a family reunion. I had a great time at the Hollis family reunion in Mobile, Alabama this past weekend. Got to hang out with my cousins, my family. Got to hang out with Hooley from Truth Be Told Sports. It was funny because I call him Hooley, and the rest of the family was like, "Who the hell is Hooley?" And his dad, of the same name, was like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "Where'd that come from?" And we're like, "I don't know." He said he started calling me Hooley probably 8th grade and been calling me ever since. And so I didn't like it at first until the girls started calling me Hooley, and the rest is history. But family reunion, I was talking to Buff about it. It was great just because my kids got to see the family, and it came full circle. I remember being that age, coming to the family reunion with my kids, well, as a kid, and meeting people and all that stuff. And now it's me bringing my kids, you know, doing the same thing, you know, all the stuff that the grown-ups were doing. We're those grown-ups now. And it's just like, man, I can't believe that. And just kind of when you think about the whole family history, family tree, on that side, our great granddad had 5 daughters. And so from those 5 daughters begot all of us, you know, like it's, you know, and just seeing those branches of that tree, and just trying to explain to especially Skylar how, you know, lineage works. And it was just cool concept. Like if you just, especially when you have those huge families, you know, ours is a little smaller, the branches don't go as far, but just, you know, my grandmother, who had 4 sisters, had 14 kids. So those branches, you know, just go out and just, it's just crazy. So, that was the main highlight, enjoying work, enjoying life. That's about it that I can think of off the top of my head. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Where's Sophia?
She's here with her contacts. I just want to, y'all make sure y'all point that out that she doesn't have her glasses on. So hold on, I'll be right back.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Hey. Hello. I think I know you. You look familiar, but there's something different about you.
Oh, no.
Mueres. I just can't put my fingers on it.
Could be the hair.
Maybe it's the hair. Let me look a little closer.
Maybe I got a new shirt. I think I got a new shirt.
Yeah, maybe. I don't really know what it is.
I got contacts.
No, that can't be it. That can't be it. That's not what it is.
Could never be.
Yeah.
Well, you can figure it out later.
Okay. Well, I'll start calling you Sophie with the good eyes.
I don't have good eyes. I need contacts.
That she can barely get in. She struggles.
Hey, man, that's why I don't want contacts. I'm nervous.
They said that they would pay me if I could teach him because he said that he's really bad at it.
Yeah.
I know I can't do it. That's why I wear glasses.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. I'm ready.
What happened to do milk a cow in Antarctica?
If you ice cream, you scream.
Do you know it?
Freeze.
Hey, you did change your name.
I forgot.
Ice. Milk. Ice.
How could you?
Cow.
It's ice cream.
That's the answer?
It's ice cream.
I said that.
He kind of muttered it. He did.
I couldn't hear anything.
You got new contacts, not new ears.
It doesn't count if you didn't hear it, right?
No, it doesn't count. You just said it. You mumbled it.
Yeah. Okay. Ice cream. Okay.
All right, baby. Go ahead.
Right.
I don't know about that one
Sophie
today.
with the good eyes.
Yeah. Try next time.
She made that one on her own?
Huh?
That was a personal one?
Yeah, that was a personal one. She made that one up on her own. Had to go with it.
Go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. I got a little bomb every once in a while. You appreciate me.
What a hater.
Daddy hating. Daddy is hating. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. Before we start, I want to go back and really quickly hit on one of the topics we discussed about parents, I guess, checking out, or the parent kind of
when they stop kind of trying to see the kid.
I just want to make sure, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for all of us, we're not saying just when it gets tough. We're not giving fathers or mothers an excuse just because it gets a little tough or, it's a headache. We're not saying you need to neglect your obligations either, financial obligations, all that stuff. We're just saying when it comes to being I will speak for me on this, when it comes to trying to be a part in that child's life, like more than financial, if it's just an ongoing, I don't even know the word to use. Like, it's just toxic. I mean, if we're going to keep using that word, I think there's toxic situations, there's toxic relationships, not in just dating, it could be toxic parenting relationships. And just like you have to exit those. Sometimes you stay for the kids. Sometimes you stay for, or you leave for yourself, just like you leave marriages. It's like, this is killing me. I'm dying slowly. I'm stressed out. I'm having, and it doesn't allow you to neglect your duties. But the point of trying to, with that same vigor, to try to be in that child's life at a certain point, I think in anything we all do, once you repeatedly try, that's the definition of insanity. Like, you keep trying to, trying the same thing, and you're just like, I'm killing myself, and children grow up. I've seen people establish relationships with their parents later in life, and that might be a situation. So I just want to make sure that was clarified. But let's jump into who wants to go first.
I can, Razi.
Yeah, I think I went first last time.
Okay. I do think this will be a quick question, but as always, we'll see. I think about 30 states have done what they call ban the box, where jobs are not allowed to ask if you've been convicted of a felony or been to prison or anything like that. I just want to know, do you think companies should be forced to get rid of ban the box? Why or why not?
I think it needs to be more defined. I don't think it. I agree with ban the box in general. I mean, in policy, it makes sense. They paid their dues. I also agree with giving them back their voting rights. Right? They laws that are passed are going to affect them as citizens. You don't lose the citizenship because you did something wrong, right? Like we said, you did your, you paid your dues, and everything. And so at that point, you should be coming out and participate in the voting or whatever. And so with ban the box, I think it's the same thing. I feel like they have paid their dues to society. If it has nothing to do with the job, then it shouldn't matter, right? I mean, if I was convicted of murder and I'm trying to work at a bank, that has nothing to do with it, right? And so that's why I say I feel like it needs to be a little bit more constrained. Could a bank ask about, have you ever been convicted of a financial crime? I think that makes sense, right? Or you're working with kids and they're asking, have you ever been convicted of, child sex crimes or whatever? That makes sense, right? So I think it needs to be more than just, have you ever been convicted of a felony? I think it needs to be something pertinent to the job, and I need to know that history based on that. And that is very, very much different than any felony or any time you've been convicted of a crime. I'm going to put it on this box, and so now I'm not going to hire you based on that. I vehemently disagree with that part.
I agree, because if our justice system, it's supposed to be to reform criminals, right? So yeah, there should be some qualifications to jobs. Maybe some jobs may need to be, restricted. But 1 in 3 felons find work, especially a decent paying job after coming out of prison. So 33% of felons can't find a job.
No, wait, 66 can't, right? You said 1 in 3 get a job.
33%. No, 1 out of 3 can't find a job.
Find a job or can't find a job. Okay.
Yeah, so 3 of us in here, 1 of us can't work.
Yeah. And then you wonder recidivism, why they end up back in prison.
Yeah.
There's nothing for them to do other than get back in the streets, go back out and do something illegal because they got to feed their family or feed themselves.
So what's the point of reform? Like, if you do the crime, you pay the time. Whatever that is. Yeah, something like that. I did the time doesn't end. And especially you got to think about some of these young people. You get locked up when you're 19. You made a dumb decision. The 3 of us were stupid at 19. right? We all probably could have got in trouble or the wrong day, the wrong week, the wrong month, fell on some bad time, and been in a situation that led us down a path where we could all got arrested, right? And so if we do and we become reformed, you're talking about a 19-year-old that goes to jail for 5-10 years and they can't, the rest of their life is scarred. I mean, that's worse than child support. I mean, like, you for the rest of your life, you're 19, 18, 17 years old. Some of these, we have minors in the penal system for felonies for the rest of your life. You live 60, 70 years from now. I don't know if there's like, all right, dude, okay, that was 20 years ago. We're going to expunge that from your record. I've never heard of that happening. Once you're a felon, you're always a felon. Land of the free? Like, it's we let people come here to start over and get a second chance. But our own Americans, our own people don't have a chance. You make a wrong mistake. And there's certain crimes that don't go well with your, career path. Like you said, if you got convicted of a financial crime, probably don't need to work in finance. Anything, sex crimes, maybe you shouldn't be around kids. We got to give people a second chance. We got to put money, but
yeah, especially when you talk about like the war on drugs and things like that. I mean, if I'm convicted of a felony because I'm 3 strikes on selling weed, right, or even crack. I mean, truthfully, that has nothing to do with whether I can 17. I was an entrepreneur and I'm a good salesman. You should be chomping at the bit to hire me. I had the block hot.
And how long do you serve? We got to think, these guys are serving crazy sentences. Mm-hmm. Crazy, especially when you talk about the war on drugs and crack. I think, we're talking 10 plus years, with good behavior. And they come out and the world's already going to be tough for them. They're behind the ball. They haven't developed mentally and socially and stuff like that. And the last thing you want to do is make it put an economic barrier to their development. It's just crazy. People make this, if you really think about it. I mean, only thing that's forever is like, bad STDs and freaking a felony charge. Like you can't get rid of AIDS, HIV, herpes, and a felony charge. All of them, same thing. Like, think about how long that stays on your record. You can file for bankruptcy. You can do all this stuff. Trump's filed for bankruptcy God knows how many times. He's okay. He's been able to recover. Felons, not so much.
I love how you said we will let people come to this country at 25, 30 years old. And they could have been convicted of a felony in their country, come here, and they don't have to sign that box because they can't check. There's nothing that they could check. So they actually have a bigger leg up than our people, our actual citizens here in this country when it comes to that. And that's wild.
So I know they're banning the box, but I think still in the interview process, there is a part where they ask about, have you been convicted of any felony crimes? There's a or something during the background check. There's still in the states that the box is banned, you can't ask that question either. Like it's banned. They're saying banned in the box, but it's banned. And you can't ask about a previous Now, do interviewers find ways around that? I see a gap in your employment history. What happened there? Right? Yeah, that type of thing. So they find ways around it, but they can't ask about your incarceration or if you've been convicted of crimes. Because I remember several years ago when I was still with ADP, that was a hot topic, and I'm just trying to recall the little fine points of it. And I want to say, maybe you're right, it was an interview process, but once you got through the interview process, I think you still have to do, most companies ask for a background check. And so at the background check, that's when they can still make their decision on whether to offer you employment. So
And what banning the box does is it gives you an opportunity to explain yourself. Like, it may have been some circumstances that some employers can understand, but with the box, have you been convicted of a felony?
Yeah.
You hit yes, you don't even make it to the explanation process.
Yeah, so that is, I guess that's the good thing about it. Is like, you just have to at least get you in the door.
Yeah. It depends on the state and how it's written, and so every state's differently. So like, when you talk about background checks, like, my company doesn't do background checks anymore because certain states don't let you do background checks. Some don't, ban the box. Some won't let you ask. So it depends on the state. And so, any multi-state or national company, they a lot of times go to the whole, well, I'm just going to not ask it. So a lot of times what you see is the smaller companies, the in-state companies, they get away with a little bit more than maybe your multinationals or your state.
I just started a company. Our company is global, and they still ask. And maybe because I'm in healthcare, and it's one of those things where, like I said, I can't be employed because there's a lot of credentialing that I have to do to be let into hospitals. So even my company has to prove to other facilities and healthcare systems that I'm trustworthy enough to be in their facility, to talk to their staff, all this stuff. So maybe that's what it is. But I haven't been with a company that has not done a background check. I expect that every time.
And I agree with both of you brothers. I'm all for banning the box. I think, if you have been convicted, you should be, especially if you're qualified for the job, then you should at least get that opportunity to explain yourself. So, like I said, quick question. I think it was.
Yeah.
So I'll flip it on that. As an employer, would you guys feel comfortable hiring a felon? Or would you want a little bit more information if, say, it's your company, right? CEO, SWAT Enterprises, we're going live, and we got a felon coming in. Are y'all comfortable hiring for whatever job?
So I think, it depends on what type of business we're running. Like, if we're opening up a financial type of institution and you're convicted of embezzling or Ponzi scheming or something like that, then no. But we have a close friend that's a convicted felon, so it would be almost hypocritical for us to be like dead set against it.
Yeah, I think it's things you consider. I mean, it's part of your resume. We all have a resume, life resume, dating resume. I talk about those things all the time. You have to be able to explain it. Just like the resume or the credit report we talk about. Things have more weight maybe the newer they are. Are you really reformed? So if they're working for SWAT Enterprises and they just got out last year, maybe you need a little more, depending on the level of the job. Maybe they can start in the mailroom. That doesn't bother me. But to be my CFO and you just got out 2 years ago and you haven't proven yourself, just like on your credit report, certain things are weighted the closer you are to those discrepancies. Like, you've been missing payments for the last year. And the last 2 months is when you start making your payments on time. Yeah, you still haven't proven to me that you can make your payments on time. But if you did that 4 years ago and for the last 4 years you show good payment history, I can say, like, you know what? Razi had a slump. Don't know what was going on. Let me understand the situation. But the last 4 years has shown me that he's more dependable. So I think you look at all that. So I think there's going to be things there's going to be red flags. I think you said that break in credit, that break in work history. Okay, from 2008 to 2017, I don't show anything on your work history. Would you care to elaborate? Well, man, I got caught up in a little bit, like you got to explain to me. 2017 to 2023, 6 years, I've seen some growth and you seem like you made some progress, what was going on there. You might be the perfect person for the job. We all make mistakes.
Yeah. I'm right there along with you guys. I love when you talk about being hypocritical with it, right? Like, we can't sit here. I know I can't sit here with a good conscience and be like, no, I wouldn't do that, or I wouldn't hire them, because I know, that friend and that work ethic and what they bring and how experienced and how knowledgeable they are, to say no. And that's why I wanted to bring it up. I wanted everybody to kind of think that if you are a hiring manager or you own your own company or whatever, don't automatically discount these folks just because they've been locked up or whatever. I mean, a lot of people, especially in our communities, get locked up for very, very small things and do long stints, right? They're felony because they got caught with, an ounce or whatever, and it was for personal use. So those types of things is where, you really do have to think about what it is they were in for, what happened, and really look at the character of the person right now, not their history. So, good question though, Buff.
All right, Razi, I want you to go. I think I've had a lot of questions that have kind of lingered, so I want to make sure I give you guys a chance to.
All right. So, I had two questions. I didn't know. Are we gonna talk about the hoods and the kid that shot the guy for hitting his mom? Did y'all want to talk about that one?
Wow,
or
man. News moves so fast. That feels like so long ago. But yeah, we can.
I still haven't seen the video. I just...
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we'll talk about that one. I also wanted to talk about ChatGPT, but I think this one would be more interesting. It's more timely. So I'll hold off on the other one. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Ferg, I think you haven't seen the video yet, but over in Chicago, a young man and his mom were arrested for the son, 14 years old, shot a guy in a restaurant after the guy was started hitting and beating on his mom. They were arrested, released the next day, or I think they were arrested on like a Friday, released on a Monday or whatever. So after, the weekend, they were released, and the DA said that, essentially they couldn't find enough evidence, or they didn't feel they had a strong enough case to be able to convict them of that. So they got off, and now they're suing the police force and all of that. But I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on whose side are you on with that, right? If you were that son, would you shoot that guy? Do you feel like, justice was served there? And do you agree that with the DA for releasing them? So it's kind of a 3-part question. If you were in the shoes, do you think that was the right thing to do in that part? And then, are you kind of aligned with what the police did? So
let me get this straight. So if from what I remember hearing, or maybe I've seen, this is similar to after the incident with the young man attacking the mother. This was similar to a Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery, like running somebody down, like who has left the scene, right? Like this is not an immediate danger, right?
No. So he shot him once. So what happened is the guy and the mom was arguing. The mom texts the son to come in. The son comes in. I assume, brought the gun with him. Guy continues to kind of curse, berate the mom, and then just found out, I was looking at some other stuff, the girlfriend was in there egging him on to hit her. And he's like, I'm gonna hit you. And then, she's telling everybody like, let's go. She's like, telling her son, come on, let's go. And he's like, get your food and go. But she was waiting on the food. And then he ended up hitting her. He hit her a couple more times. The son shot at him, shot him once. He runs out of the restaurant. The son runs behind him, continues shooting at him and firing at him. And then the guy did die based on that. So, and yes, he
that's
did,
what I mean. Like there was no, at that point, there was no immediate danger.
Right.
I understand what I would do. Well, first of all, there's a couple of things. As long as cops get to keep killing unarmed black men, I'm all about black people getting off. Full stop. Secondly, understand what I would do, but also understand that there are repercussions for the decisions I make. So I brought this up several episodes ago. Nigga logic, like in your mind, you're caught up in the moment. I'll get that. I love my mom. I love my wife. There's certain people I'm gonna protect, with every fiber of my being, to my last breath. But at a certain, I can say that, and if I do that, and I overstep, I have to be willing to deal with the consequences of my actions. And when you go chasing somebody down the street who is no longer a threat, unless there was another threat that's like, oh, I'm going in my car and I'm shooting everybody. White man can jump. He got a flamethrower. Like then he got away with murder, right? At the end of the day, he's getting away with murder because the same way I feel about Buddy Trayvon Martin's killer, make sure murderer,
George Zimmerman.
George Zimmerman chasing Trayvon Martin when he was at this point, or approaching, like he's not a threat. Like you're escalating the situation past a point of where it needs to be. Like unless, like I said, there was another threat that was perceived, then yes. And I don't know if that was like, hey, he said he was going to he's been known to be violent, and well, actually he's known to be violent because he attacked the mom. But maybe he didn't have nothing in his car. Like at this point, he's gone, he's running, he got shot, he's over it. They called his bluff. You're chasing after somebody and kill him. You know,
So you're good with him getting off though?
Yeah, my nigga logic is. But if they would have convicted him, like, yeah, I get it. Like I would have, if he would have been convicted, I'd have been like, that's messed up. I would have protected my mom too, but I get it. By the way I interpret the law, like this ain't no stand your ground anymore. You know, this is running around, not stand your ground. So
yeah, but even at 14, and I let me stop.
Why does a 14-year-old have a gun? Like there's a lot of things going on.
It was probably, I mean, it wasn't him having a gun. It was her gun in the car. So like that's why she got arrested too. She called him to, like, there's a lot of red flags because at any point, let's be honest, you know, if this was our kid, like, well, why didn't you leave? Like I didn't hear anything about him blocking the situation, all this stuff. Like they could have de-escalated the situation, took the L on him cussing her out, and you got 3 people alive and not dealing with convictions or anything like that today. Sometimes we have to learn how to just walk away. So it's so many situations where we want to stand our ground and prove that we're tougher. Like she called a minor to bring a gun. Yeah. You know, at this point, you know, I ain't never had nobody call somebody to bring a gun on me. Like, how do you act? Think I'm this devil's advocate. Like, you just call this little nigga to bring a gun in on me? In your mind, like, there's no way he's about to shoot me. Like, this ain't about to go down. Like, she doesn't... I missed that part. At that part, she does not seem as innocent as we want to make her seem. Because she called a 14-year-old to bring a gun into a restaurant to de-escalate the situation. Rather than walking to the car and getting the out of there, she called her 14-year-old son to bring a gun into the restaurant to protect her, and she put her son in danger. What if this guy had a gun? There's a lot of... What if he would have shot somebody else? Like, this is almost like it's a horrible situation, but this is the worst case scenario. He could have shot an innocent bystander. Like, there's so many things wrong with this. I just got frustrated all over again. Byron, go.
So your first question, I don't know what I would have done at 14. 14-year-old, I had never shot a weapon before, so I have no idea what I would have done. I think Ferg said, actually, I'm surprised by your answer because so many people were rooting for this kid and his mom to beat the case, and they were happy at all the actions that took place. And I heard extreme versions that are different from Razi. Like, not only did he follow the guy out, but once he shot him again outside and he failed, he shot him 2 more times. And then the mama was like, let's go shoot his girlfriend. And, you know, I heard extreme versions of it. I also heard a version that he didn't chase him outside. So if he didn't chase him outside, he's good with me. You protected your mom. Great. What I had a problem with, and this was brought up in the text thread, once he followed him outside, if he did, because there's been conflicting stories, if he followed him outside like he did, you know, that's a little bit more difficult. But the two areas that I wanted to address this on, Razi, one is nobody, like everybody that's applauding what this kid did, nobody seems to be concerned with how this is going to affect him mentally as the years pass on. Like, they're saying he's a straight A student and all this stuff, and assuming he's never been a part of anything like this, this may gravely affect him down the line. But everybody's so busy cheering and protect black women, which is great. He protected his mom, but we also need to be concerned on how, like, he took somebody's life. That's not a small thing. The other thing is, those people that agree with the actions this 14-year-old took and the mom, and I guess to bolster their argument, they post the rap sheet of the deceased. You guys are doing the same thing that we call the media out for when the police kill one of us. And I'm not saying dude didn't deserve to be shot, because he shouldn't have been teeing off on a woman like that in the first place. So let me make that clear. But at the same time, if that's wrong enough for you, you don't need a rap sheet. You don't need to know that he's been arrested 14 times or however many times he's been arrested and what he's been arrested for. Why are we posting that? Like, that's the same thing they do to us when they kill one of us. Oh, he got suspended from school. Trayvon smoked weed. Criminalizing the deceased. That shouldn't matter. Did he do something that deserved to be shot? In this case, most people say yes. That should be it. Why are we doing the same that we accuse the media of doing to us? That's what I didn't get. So now, because we know, unfortunately, it will happen again when the police kills one of us and they do that to us. Y'all can't say because y'all have shown that y'all do the same thing. That's all I got on that.
Byron, you just said a mouthful. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we want to hold the police to a higher standard, we got to hold ourselves to that as well. And, oh, man.
But they're trained, Ferg.
Yeah, they are.
I want to start that argument again.
But that black on black crime argument that you like to use, this is the poster child for that. This is the poster child for that. Well, y'all don't have anything to say when black people kill black people. And you're like, well, you know, remember that dude in Chicago that the dude was beating his mama up and he shot him and ran him out, you know, looking real suspect right now. It's like, because I always say, like, well, criminals that kill criminals go to jail. Like, there's nothing for me to say. If I go out and kill somebody, there's not going to be no damn, you know, I'm not going to get furloughed. I'm not going to get paid leave or anything like that. I'm going to jail. You know, even if they find me innocent, I'm going to jail for a very long time until the case is, you know, they say not guilty, which is probably not going to happen. I'm going to jail. And in this case, it's exactly what, like you said, Byron, it's, hey, you know, they killed somebody. If he would have used deadly force from the get-go, if he would have shot him in the restaurant and that dude would have died, I'm like, he felt like he needed to use that much force at that point in time to kill him because he was violent. You know, like, he's 14.
Yeah, because I mean, use of force law, like, you can use deadly force to save somebody else and protect somebody else, right? Like right then, I neutralized the threat. When he ran, and like I said, unless he was running to recover a weapon, and you can prove that, then that dude was fleeing the scene.
And I hate that she put her son in this situation.
That's my whole thing.
I would have rather for her to go to the car, because at this point, this guy he's threatening you. He's saying he's about to knock you out.
Did she call him or text him?
She texted him.
Yeah.
So
she texted him to come in because the guy was starting to get, like, you know, big with her and start yelling at her and stuff. So, like, my answer is a little bit along the lines of you guys. I do think if I was 14 years old and somebody was hitting on my mom like that, I would have shot. Right. My mom, and it's funny. My mom has called me to bring her gun a couple times. And so, you know, the funny thing about it is I have been in those situations where I'm literally walking. It wasn't at a restaurant, right? But it's been at the house, and she's like, "Go get my gun." And I've gone in the house and got her gun and come back out, like, you know, while she yelling and fussing with somebody. Like, that has happened before. So, you know, for me, I could see myself walking out of that house at 12, 13, 14 years old, seeing some dude hitting on my mom and me pulling the trigger. Like I played that in my head, like, oh, that I would have done that. And so, and that's why I asked you, Ferg, about the whole in the eyes of a 14-year-old, him chasing behind the guy. At that point, I'm not even gonna lie, I probably would have ran behind him and kept shooting. Right? Like it's not this I'm a grown man and I can think about, oh, I need to, you know, I'm just protecting my mom and I need to stop right here. It's like, you hit my mom, I'm shooting and I'm gonna keep shooting, right? Like until you fall and ain't moving anymore. Like, so I get what that kid did. And Buff, I totally agree with you. That is totally gonna change his perspective, mentality. Like, it weighs on you. Death weighs on you. I mean, we talk about it all the time, and we didn't even cause any of the deaths, but we couldn't save the people, and so we still suffered from it. So I can only imagine being the person that actually took the person's life. So go ahead, Ferg.
So I understand exactly what you're saying, but it goes back, just because you can relate to it doesn't mean it's right.
Right, like, and that's why I asked the three questions, because it was like that I would have done the same thing. I don't agree that it was the right thing to do. I like you guys said, de-escalation. She could have walked out. She shouldn't have been calling him in. All of that, I completely agree. I don't think that was the right thing, and I don't agree with what happened because of that. But again, I don't hold that kid responsible to that, because he was doing what I feel like any son would have done for his mom. And so going to the DA, and do I agree what happened? I actually would have wanted them to go to trial, and let a jury decide whether it was gonna, you know, then we could have got the facts, right? We would have known, did he chase him or not? Did he, you know, what happened, and when did mom call him in, and like, I would have wanted it to go to trial and see, and let a jury of their peers decide what was going on and what happened. And
I kind of said that, like,
I feel like that's what should have happened. I don't agree with the DA deciding, you know, just by themselves, oh, I'm not going to try this one, because I mean, like you said, he did essentially murder that guy.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much wrong with this case. Like, you're right, it should have went to trial. It's because it goes back to what, you know, I joke about nigga logic all the time, but it gets us in so much trouble, because in our minds, this is what I would have did. Or instead of like understanding, like, you just can't do that because you feel like it's the right thing to do. That gets us in so much trouble. We find ourselves so far behind the ball, because what you mean they arrested him? He was protecting his mama. No, he killed somebody is what he did.
Right.
This is premeditated. He walked in the restaurant. Hey, bring me my gun. Even in your situation, you know, I love your mama, Craig. At the end of the day, she put you in a situation because she continued to escalate that situation. She's outside arguing. She could have went in her house. Mama, please don't listen to this show. She could have went in her house. She could have told you to stay in the house, or not, at least not bring the gun. So if something would have happened, this could have been you. And you're my best friend. You'd have still been wrong, because now think about it. She's not thinking clearly enough to say, my 14-year-old son probably doesn't have the wherewithal to make wise decisions. You know why? Because I'm raising him, and I don't got the wherewithal to tell my 14-year-old son to come in a goddamn restaurant with a gun. So what did she think was going to happen? Like, that's the real question.
As always with these, the bystanders get criticized too, and a lot of women were criticizing whether or not there were other grown men in there that didn't step in. Because we so-called don't like to protect black women, and everybody loves to pretend how they would have jumped in and did this and other. But I understand those who don't. I mean, because you don't know who they have to protect at home. Like they have a family that depends on them to make it back home, and you don't know what people are carrying these days. You get yourself involved in situations. It's a selfish way to think, but that has to be taken into account at the time.
And
especially with a dude that's sitting there yelling at a chick in the restaurant and stuff. And I hate to say, looking back at that rap sheet, like, that dude might have had a reputation in that community. Like this ain't the dude to mess with.
Yeah, he will hit you.
You know
bro.
what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's so easy to say, well, shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's why when Keeping It Real goes wrong, it's a hilarious skit, because that's how we find ourselves. Like Tyrone Johnson saw this fine young chick arguing with this dude, and he's like, I've been in the weight room, and and next he's dead. Like, we don't know how this would have happened. And I have obligations to other people. If I would have been there, would I have helped? I have a wife and kids that my life revolves around. I can honestly say 9 times out of 10, I would have probably tried to de-escalate. Ma'am, just go to the car. But first of all, you know what? I'll tell you why I wouldn't have helped. Because I would have been gone. These niggas tripping.
That is true.
This don't seem like the place I need to be.
That's a good one too.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a person that runs to the fight, right? I'm not that dude. Like, they fight. Let me see who fight.
Yeah.
No. I'm gone. So, y'all can hate me, ladies. Y'all can hate me, fellas. Call me what it is. I'm pretty sure you're going to cuss me out after this one. But you know why I never find myself in those situations? Because my spidey sense be tingling. I'm like, you know what? It's time for me to go. This ain't where it needs to be. I ain't been in one of those situations or crazy situations in so long, because I err on the side of caution. We talked about that earlier. I err on the side of caution, and I eliminate myself, remove myself from situations where it could escalate, where I can catch a stray bullet.
And white people, I told y'all, we don't take anything seriously. Just like they made fun of the people in that submarine, they're making fun of the deceased. I've seen some memes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Well, I want to see the jokes we make about affirmative action being gone.
Do you guys think that's going to help HBCU enrollment?
Yes.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
No, that's a new because to me, HBCU enrollment should always be high. There's people who, in their mind, who have already written off HBCUs as a lower standard of education.
And this ain't going to change their mind.
It's not going to change. They're going to jump through the hoops.
They'll go to another PWI that they can get admitted to.
Yeah, they jump through the hoops to be that they want to be with them.
Yeah,
like they want to be with.
And for the listeners who's listening, a PWI is a predominantly white institution. That's colleges or universities that are predominantly white. That's what we call a PWI.
Okay, HBCUs, historically black college and university. So it's not really a question. Well, let's talk about it. What do you guys think? How do you think that's going to affect it?
I think for those that are deciding between, because there are some students that are considering the HBCU as well as a PWI, and so maybe this may make them lean.
You'll see a slight increase. You'll as a last ditch effort, but it's not going to be we're galvanizing and taking our black money and keeping it in our neighborhood. It's not about to be a movement. It's going to be a need based situation. I had to go to FAM,
and I don't think this is gonna. I really don't think this is going to change admissions much. What I think it's going to change is applications. It's going to change the money that they spend on outreach. Again, affirmative action doesn't mean you have a quota. You don't have to admit so many blacks and so many whites. What it means is that you have to put money into your underrepresented populations. You have to put money into actually trying to attract them. So you have to go to the career fairs at the HBCUs. You have to say, I am, going to do internships with these groups and those types of things. I'm going to use inroads to do my minority internships so that I can actually, matriculate them into my company because I have an underrepresented population in my company or at my school. That's what affirmative action is. So I think that part is going to go where they don't come to the universities or the high schools as much, right? The black high schools, then you're not going to see the Harvards they're trying to recruit, right? And that type of stuff. That's the part that you're not going to see. But the kids that just want to go, the applications that from that, I think they are going to continue to do what they've been doing and trying to, get more representation on their campus.
So you 100% sure on the whole quota thing, because a white girl took Texas to the Supreme Court.
I was just about to bring that up. Because she felt like her spot.
Yeah,
she was last on the list.
I think it is a quota.
They started letting niggas in right before she got in, so she was number.
There's not a quota. That's why Harvard and UNC actually they said that their recruiting or their admissions policies weren't constitutional. That's why everybody's calling it overturning affirmative action. But that's what it is that yes, the school can say, I want this black kid over this white kid because my diversity numbers, right? I'm looking for a diverse number of students on campus. And so I'm going to pick this white kid over this black kid, or this black kid over this white kid. But that isn't what affirmative action is. Affirmative action doesn't make you do that. That's the difference there. Schools and companies build their policies to try to get there, but affirmative action never in any case says that you have to have a quota or have to have a certain demographic. Right.
So what are the cases specifically overturned then?
Their specific recruiting practices, so their policy is what it says was unconstitutional. And so that's why everybody is kind of extrapolating and saying they're overturning all of, because it sets precedent, right? So they're saying it overturns affirmative action in general, because now it set a precedent that if you have something where you're using race as an identifier, or saying, hey, we do want to, recruit and bring in so many black students, or a percentage of our population, we want to try to get to this, using race as kind of that weight, then they're saying that you can't use that anymore, which again isn't affirmative action. It's affirmative action doesn't tell you have to do that, but that's what everybody thinks of when they think of affirmative action.
So it's diversity and
basically, yeah, DEI at universities, and they're saying that you can't use race as an admission part or part of admission. So that's the issue that we're running into, is that now schools are going to be like, and again, I think a lot of schools are probably still going to use that policy. They just won't put it in written policy, and they'll still try to make their campuses look diverse and everything. But what'll end up happening again is they can't spend that money on affirmative action plans and recruiting and all that stuff.
And Byron, honestly, what I see happening, and maybe this is just because it's so new and I haven't given much thought, is a lot of HBCUs are full. Mm-hmm. They're full. They can't take anybody else. So I don't know. Maybe these black students won't find a home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But, that's how you grow your campus, though, is you're full this year, so you expand.
No,
you're full,
what I'm saying is there's a waiting list to get into FAM. Like housing classes, like you only can get so big. Like it sounds great, but if your school only can hold 70,000 students, I'm talking about, not FAM, you can't go from 70,000 to 140,000, like you can't find housing in classes for 10,000 students. Right. Like you're at capacity. Like this just doesn't make sense anymore. And, it is where it is. Like FAM was at its largest when I was there, late 90s, early 2000s. FAM was like doing it. You can't get much bigger than that. Right. And right now, but Miles College can, right? Talladega can, Tuskegee can. So they're getting full though. Like if you look at HBCU enrollment, it's already up, and so they can't. So Miles, how many students does Miles have? We're talking about hundreds of students.
Yeah,
Miles isn't that big, so Miles lets in an extra 150 students. Miles is done. Like there might be a room for 10,000 black students across the country, 10,000 seniors. That's it.
Yeah.
That ain't all the seniors.
Do we go out and open more HBCUs? Or can we even open an HBCU at this point?
Nope.
I don't even know if you'd get chartered and the state would actually let you open a school.
Nope. Then HBCUs. It wouldn't be HBCU.
Yeah. It won't be historically black.
Yeah, it's like y'all got a black. Y'all got y'all got that new.
Y'all got a BCU.
Yeah.
A black college and university.
Yeah. So, because they're not opening new universities, right?
They are. There's new schools popping up. I mean, and especially PWIs are expanding. I mean, UAB has grown like 20% in the last 10, 15 years. So
yeah, maybe
and that's what I mean. I wasn't saying like the HBCUs would expand next year, but I mean that's how you keep expanding, right? Eventually, I'm at capacity now, so I'm going to build a new dorm, and so now I can bring in another 100 next year or another 200 next year, and you keep expanding like that. So that's what I said. I think there is going to be a little bit of a shift, and you like you said, we've already seen it where people are starting to see that they can get a quality education from an HBCU, and since they see that, we're seeing that shift, and I think this is going to even further accelerate that shift.
Yeah, well, maybe I can see that. I just think the biggest thing is maybe a little. Too late, too little. I mean, whatever.
Too little, too late. Yeah.
Too little, too late. Yeah, whatever. Because you got to think about it. If it becomes a problem, it's a problem now. Like, what about your daughter who's a senior in high school and doesn't have a home? Right now. 4 years from now, when UAB South has room, that's great for the class of 2028. But my daughter graduated 2023. What are we going to do now? So it's very, very interesting to see. Hopefully it doesn't have that big of an impact. And I don't want y'all leftovers on. Don't default to HBCU because you can't go to the PWI. Go to another PWI. No, I ain't even going to say that because maybe your parents, maybe this is your opportunity to get something that you didn't know was an option for you. So I take that back. Petty me, stop. All right. All right, let's go ahead and close it out, fellas. We kind of got a question in without having a question.
So NBA free agency is running amok as we record today, this Good Friday. And I just want to say, young men, especially young black men, get that paper, man. Get that paper. I'm seeing some of these contracts, 3 years, $126 million. Get that paper, fella. I should have shot some jump shots. Also,
we won't get no taller.
Hey, just spot up threes, man. That's all I need. You know what I'm saying? Also, I told a few of my friends I was introduced to a snippet of a song called Pound Town about a couple of months ago. And for whatever reason, I finally heard the entire song. And for a minute, I was a Republican. And I said, you Negroes need to be stopped. Enough is enough.
Did she perform on the BET?
I don't think she performed. I know she was there. I'm not sure.
She was there and they played her song. Yeah. And so she was up dancing to it in front of like
some pastor or something.
Yeah, some pastor or something like that. Yeah.
That's hilarious, by the way. But I'm back now. That is enough. And listen, I come from an era, I don't pretend that all of our songs were great. We had some terrible songs too, but the first line of that song, good God, come on, man. But anyway, shout out to the Inspire You listeners. Shout out to the Inspire You on Air listeners. We always ask subscribe to our podcast on any podcast platform, Three Brothers Stole Sense. We are always extremely grateful for you guys rocking with us, taking your time to listen to our three varying opinions on different topics, man. So thank y'all for listening.
All I got, since this has been such a heavy conversation about affirmative action and that Justice Roberts is a coon. I'm done.
Wow. You didn't like his Santa Claus hypothetical question?
Oh man, no, okay. I did not.
So are we going to let the listeners know, or?
Go ahead, tell them about it. I'm done with it because I'm so pissed.
In his dissension, he kind of jokingly asked, he didn't have
a dissension. Yeah,
you know what? I'm thinking about a different ruling. This was on the LGBTQ.
Yeah.
When he was like, so can a black Santa Claus deny taking a picture with a kid dressed as a Klansman? And he thought that was funny. So that was. I mean, the point he was making was, people should be allowed to.
So he compared being a member of the Klan to being gay. Okay. Duly noted. I hate it here sometimes.
But so it sounds like I was slightly different from what you were talking about, Razi. You can explain.
Oh, I'm just talking about how he actually wrote the finding or whatever it is for the affirmative action case. Black man who.
Oh, Thomas. I thought you said Roberts.
Oh, it is Justice. It's Clarence Thomas.
Yeah,
yes,
Thomas. Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
All right, let me change that. All I got to say is Clarence Thomas is a coon.
We've been to that. That's just, you know, he is. I feel like they got Uncle Ruckus from Clarence Thomas. I feel like he is no relation.
Yeah. So totally was off. I don't know why I have Roberts in my mind. But yes, Clarence Thomas. That's it. That motherfucker. I know you might see him sometimes, but so you can't really say nothing. So.
I'm gonna keep mine light. I'm gonna send y'all a video. I almost pushed the recording back because I wanted to cook this food. It looks like the best thing I never ate. It was a shrimp burger, a fried shrimp burger. I'm gonna send you this. As a matter of fact, I'm about to send you this video right now. And
was it like a po' boy?
Nah, boy. I'm gonna send you this right now.
What makes it a burger and not a po' boy?
You.
Oh, and y'all understand hot dogs are tacos, right?
No, it's not.
Why is it not?
Tacos are burgers.
Tacos are not burgers.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
No, it's 3 sides. You can't have a burger with 3 sides. That's
Go look to the American taco. Go watch the Food That Made America, and the way they made, like the dude that created Taco Bell, and Taco Bell. I think it was like another restaurant before they had Taco Bell. He got the inspiration for the taco that we eat, and made it like the American hamburger: ground beef, cheese, lettuce, tomato. And the only thing different was a tortilla. It was something that the Americans could easily digest as far as the concept of the toppings, and that's how we got it. So I watched all that.
But that doesn't make it a burger. It was just inspired by a burger.
No, it's a burger.
Not a burger.
It's a deconstructed burger.
And the hot dog is a sandwich.
Hot dog is a sandwich.
How does it become a sandwich?
What do you mean? How does it become a sandwich?
Meat and bread.
Yeah.
But what makes it what makes a taco a taco?
The taco shell?
Yeah, taco shell or tortilla shell.
Yeah.
Okay, but tortillas are bread, and if you only have it in 3 sides,
it's flour.
No, it's
bread.
flour.
Yeah.
Or corn. Actually, most tacos are corn.
Yep.
You're wrong on this one. Go look at this shrimp burger though. Did y'all get the video? Go take a second and look at this shrimp burger. You can edit all this out.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Damn.
Exactly. What?
Wow.
With the bacon on it too? I just needed to see the picture.
I'm gonna say this, bro.
Exactly.
Do they have those in Vegas? Is there somewhere that serves that in Vegas?
I've had shrimp burgers, but it's like they'll have ground beef like that and I've had like my one of my friends with the person that sent it to me. He's like, I'm gonna send you. He made it this past weekend. And I'm like, okay, yeah, shrimp burger, I get it. And because I've had shrimp burgers, but he was like, I fried. I'm thinking like he pan fried it and stuff like that. When you see that, you be like,
yeah, how they chop up the shrimp and make a patty out of it. So it's very different than just like fried shrimp sitting on a burger bun. So
is it a burger? Like I said.
Yeah, that's a burger. That is a shrimp burger right there.
The best thing I never ate. Like you like, dog, everything about that. Razi, did you watch how he made it?
Or is it a sandwich? Because I mean, a fried chicken burger is a sandwich.
It's a burger patty.
But it's not a hamburger.
What's hamburger?
Beef. Well, I guess you can have a turkey burger. So yeah, it's just ground anything. So it's ground shrimp. So yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. It's a shrimp patty. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Alrighty. With that being said, best thing I never ate. Three Brothers No Sense. I'm going to try to make that. Mine ain't going to look nowhere near that pretty, but I'm about to do it. I'm freezing my patties now. But Three Brothers No Sense. Once again, we want to say shout out to Inspire You on Air, the new beat of the Bay. By the time you hear this, we will be you begin ready to celebrate the 4th of July weekend. So I hope all our listeners are safe and have fun and big plans and celebrate this great nation and all the freedom and all the stuff that goes with Independence Day. So all that good stuff. But Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. 6 rules of podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.